Today was my son's wedding. I was very happy. It is every mother's desire that her son gets married, a daughter-in-law comes home, and the house fills with happiness. Well, now my old bones no longer had the strength to do the housework. That is why I chose a neat and sweet girl for my son. To add to the blessings, my daughter-in-law brought a lot of dowry with her, and also brought a maid with her. At first, I was surprised and found it a little strange that she even brought a maid, whereas I could also hire a maid for work. But I never liked the work of maids. I thought to myself that let her stay here for a week or two, then I will send her away. But as time passed, Bilquis kept making her place in my home. I don't know what it was that drew me towards her. I became very attached to her. As for my daughter-in-law, I first saw her in a parlor where I had gone with my niece, otherwise I never went into parlor business. But when I saw the parlor girl, she seemed very refined and well-mannered to me. Her mother was also with her. In the course of conversation, I brought up the subject of marriage, and so this connection was made. Now I was satisfied with my decision. My daughter-in-law, Noor, was very good, and the working girl, Bilquis, too, but the maid who had come with the bride remained veiled at all times. This was quite strange, but I stayed silent. I never let anyone do my kitchen work, but even here, that girl outdid me. She was very pure and devout in worship. I happily entrusted her with the job of cooking. Now I was very much at peace. Not only did that girl do all the housework, but she also served me so much that I was left astonished. Yet until today, I had never seen her face because she was always in veil. I explained many times that in the house at least remove your veil after all who is here. Only we, mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, and my son too, who leaves in the morning for work and returns in the evening. But at my words, she would become very nervous. Even her hands would tremble. My daughter-in-law came and stood in front of her, saying, "Mother dear, don't say anything to her. She never shows her face to anyone. She is very modest, she finds peace in her veil, so please don't tell her." After she left, my daughter-in-law came and sat beside me and softly said, "Mother dear, what do we even have to do by seeing her face? When she gives us so much comfort, the house shines like glass. She cooks such delicious food. I have seen that she massages you even late at night. What if, because of our insistence, she gets upset and leaves the work? Nowadays, where would we find such a maid?" At my daughter-in-law's words, I stayed quiet, but there was a strange restlessness in my heart. How can there be veil from women? Thus, time passed. One night, I woke up and went towards the kitchen to get water. I saw Bilquis praying tahajjud in the room next to the kitchen. The door was open. My eyes were on Bilquis. I thought to myself how devoted she is. She was absorbed in prayer. She was sitting in such a way that her face was to the other side. But I knew that at that time she did not have her veil on. Compelled by curiosity, I stood there thinking maybe I would catch a glimpse of her. And suddenly, when she ended the prayer with salam, her face turned towards me. As soon as my eyes fell on her face, I nearly collapsed. My soul shivered to its core. Oh Allah, this is... Suddenly, I had a coughing fit and put the glass of water to my mouth. By then, Bilquis' eyes had fallen upon me. She too panicked, stood up, and rushed into the dark corner of the room, trying to hide herself from my sight. But by then, I had seen her. Since that moment, I have been very uneasy. I spent the whole night as if lying on thorns. I could not sleep all night. What was all this? How could this even be possible? I was impatiently waiting for the morning. I just wanted to stand in front of my daughter-in-law and make her reveal the whole truth. But I wanted my son to first leave for office. Then I would ask my daughter-in-law what this matter really was. If my son even got a hint of this matter, he would divorce her right then. Divorce? Perhaps in his rage he would even kill Noor. My matter was so big that anything could happen. I did not want my son's home to be ruined. I wanted to give Noor the benefit of doubt and make her confess the truth. But I had decided this much, that if even the slightest fault was hers, I myself would make him divorce her. I could not understand whose fault this really was. Now only the daughter-in-law could tell. My mind was not working. My daughter-in-law, Noor, had woken up, she had had her breakfast, and now had gone into her room. My son had left for his office. This was the time to know the truth. I immediately went towards the daughter-in-law's room, knocked, and went inside. The daughter-in-law was arranging her cupboard. She looked at me in surprise. I locked the room and sat on her bed and asked her, "What is this matter? What kind of game are you both playing in my house? Who is Bilquis? After all, what is Bilquis's secret? Today I will know the truth of you both." If you do not tell me the truth, then. At my words, Noor fell at my feet. Mother dear, forgive me, I'm not at fault. After all, what does all this matter? Tell me the whole story. Hearing my words, she became very nervous. Mother, I will tell you everything, but first you must promise that you will not let Kasim know. Otherwise, look, Noor, my child, tell me the truth now. After knowing the truth, I will decide. At my words, she wiped her tears and began to tell me her story. She told me that I, Noor, belonged to a well-off family. We were 3 siblings. The elder sister got married 3 years ago. Since then, she lived abroad. Then there was me and my younger brother, Fahad. I went to college, Fahad to school. We were all very happy when suddenly Papa had a loss in business and our financial condition became very bad. My college stopped, and because the fee could not be paid, Fahad was also removed from school. Papa drowned in debt. No relative even asked about us. This is absolutely true, that everyone supports you only as long as you have money. Papa, in order to pay his debt, sold his house too. A little money remained. With that, a small house was rented and 6 months advance rent was given. 2 months ration was bought. Now only a few thousand rupees were left, and how long would that last? I had no degree that I could get a job. I started tutoring the neighbors' children, but those few hundred rupees were not enough. Papa's health began to deteriorate. He was already a heart patient, and the burden of circumstances weakened him even more. We did not tell our elder sister anything so that she would not worry. One day I went for an interview at a school, but even there was disappointment. Because my education was less, they wanted to keep me for 2,000 rupees. And in this age of inflation, what could be done with 2,000 rupees? I came outside. In the blazing heat, I sat on the bus stop bench waiting for a bus, and I began to cry at my helplessness. Tears kept slipping down my cheeks when someone asked why I was crying. I looked up with a start, and I was very frightened. Fear overcame me. Because it was a stranger, and he always kept staring at me whenever he saw me sitting here, but today, seeing his boldness, I became very scared. I got up from there and shifted to another spot, but he also came there and again asked me the reason for my crying. I told him to go away and leave me to my condition, but he did not go, and he said if I wanted, he could help me. I thought to myself, how can he help me? This poor man himself lives by begging. I told him I did not need his help and that he should leave this place. But he did not agree. He insisted. So unwillingly, I told him that my condition was not good and I could not find a proper job. Hearing this, he gave his advice that why don't I open my own parlor? I laughed at his words. For that, millions of rupees are needed, and I do not even have enough money to take a course in some parlor. Even to learn, money is needed. Hearing this, he took a paper and pen out of his pocket and wrote something on the paper, then handed it to me and said, "This is my number. You think about it and then call me. I will bring you money." I took the chit from his hand and got up from there because my bus had arrived. Reaching home, I completely forgot about the incident. At night, when I lay on the bed, suddenly my mind jolted and the whole day's incident came back to me. How I was sitting at the bus stop crying when suddenly that stranger appeared. I was thinking, from where did he even get so much money? The money he was saying he would give me. And even if he had it, why would he give it to me? Nowadays, no one even lends anyone. I did not believe his words, but then, not knowing why, I saved his number on my mobile under the name Strange Helper and went to sleep. Many days passed since that incident. At home, it became difficult to eat even 2 meals a day, and now even those tuitions had stopped. Mom and I were very worried about Fahad's schooling. So many months had gone by, he sat at home sad, opening his school bag and scattering his books, staring at them for hours. His schooling was suffering a lot. That day I went to a friend's house. I asked her to talk to someone to get me a job in a school with a good salary. When I came out from there, on the way there was a beauty parlor. Seeing it, I remembered that stranger's words. I went inside and said I wanted to learn. The parlor owner said she charges 1 lakh rupees for the course, and it is a 1-year course in which she would teach me everything. Hearing this, I got disheartened and left saying I would tell her after a few days. But where would I bring 1 lakh rupees from? I did not even have 10,000 rupees. Anyway, I came home and a while later dialed that stranger's number. He cut my call and himself called back and asked if I was the same girl who had met him at the bus stop. I was surprised how he recognized me without hearing my voice, but without showing it, I said yes, I am the same girl who met him at the bus stop. And I asked from where would he give me money when he himself is very poor. Hearing this, he laughed and said, "You just care about the money, you will get it, say how much you need." I said I need 1 lakh rupees for the parlor course and I will return this money to him. He called me to that same bus stop and I agreed. The next day I reached there and he was already there. He put an envelope in my hand and quietly went back. I quickly put that envelope into my purse and came home. In the room, after locking the door, I opened the envelope and my astonishment knew no bounds when I saw that there were 2 lakh rupees inside. I called him and asked that I needed 1 lakh. Why did you give 2 lakh? He said, 1 lakh you will give to the parlor, the other spend slowly at home. I thanked him, and in excitement, I promised him that if in life he ever needed my help, I would surely do it. He considered me his sister. I did not know that unknowingly I had made such a big mistake. I hung up the phone. The next day, I deposited the money at the parlor and joined the parlor. Days kept passing like this. I learned a lot and admitted Fahad back into school. In this way, the year was completed, and from the parlor, I also got a course certificate. Now I wanted to open my own parlor. I again called the strange helper and told him my course was complete. He said, "Then come again to that place." I went there and he gave me an envelope and said, "Come with me." I became doubtful, so he said, "I have found a parlor for you which someone is renting out and I have put up the parlor open board." For help, I also kept a girl. The parlor started running and the household conditions began to improve. I had begun to consider him my benefactor, and day and night I prayed for him. Women came in crowds, among them you were also one of the women who liked me and made me your daughter-in-law. Preparations for my marriage were being made when one day the strange helper came to me and said that he wanted something from me. I said that I would return all his money. Just give me some time. He said that he did not want money, rather he needed my help. In this way, he reminded me of that promise I had foolishly made, which I had given him in return for 2 lakh rupees. Hearing his words, I became very worried, wondering what he might now demand from me. But I gathered courage and said, "Ask, what do you want?" But upon hearing his words, I was utterly shocked. He said to me that you will take me with you in your dowry. I was astonished. How could this be possible? Then he said, "I will tell you, you will take me with you as a maid. I will keep myself covered at all times. No one will even know that I am not a girl, but a boy." Hearing this, I now began to get angry, and at once I shouted, "And why would I do all this? I admit that you are my helper, I am indebted to you, but I can never betray my would-be husband in such a big way. Why would I take a strange man into my home? How would I know with what intention, with what purpose you want to go? I will not do this." I turned and opened the lock of my safe, which was full of notes. I had already separated 2 lakh rupees in an envelope, thinking that who knows when my helper might need this money. I handed that envelope towards him and said, "Count it, there are full 2 lakh in it. Take this and leave. From today onwards, the relation between you and me is finished." Hearing my words, he suddenly fell at my feet and began to plead. Frightened, I stepped back. He was crying bitterly, folding his hands before me. He was crying as if a small child separated from his mother in a crowd became terrified and wept, panicked. Seeing his condition, my heart softened. I, too, sat on the ground beside him. "Bilawal, brother, what is the matter? What has happened to you?" Hearing my words, he looked at me with hopeful eyes. He folded his hands and said, "Noor, let me meet my mother." "Which mother?" I was astonished. He said, "Your would-be mother-in-law is my mother. I want to serve my mother. Take me with you, let my wish be fulfilled." Hearing his words, I was shaken. How could this be that he was my husband's brother? If he was really my mother-in-law's son, then why did he want to go into the house by the back door like this? Countless questions were rising in my mind. When he spoke, "I know, hearing my words, you must be astonished. You must also be thinking that if I'm telling the truth, why do I not go in a straight way to the house?" "Nor, sister, it is my compulsion." He was still crying. Crying, he began to tell me his life story. When I was born, my mother was not happy. Many misgivings surrounded her. You yourself think, when a girl goes married into her in-laws and soon becomes expectant, how happy she becomes. She feels that the coming child will strengthen her place in the in-laws' home. But after my birth, instead of my mother's position being strengthened, she was pushed aside. My grandmother could not tolerate my mother even for a minute. It was very possible that my father would divorce my mother on the hospital bed itself. Whereas it was not my mother's fault. It was Allah's will that he made me neither boy nor girl, but chose the third gender for me. Hearing Bilawal's words, I was stunned while he himself was turning pale. His tears would not stop. When the nurse told my mother that in your house, a child of third gender has been born, my mother pleaded to her with her eyes. Understanding my mother's pain, she too became silent and congratulated my father that a son had been born to him. Everyone was overjoyed. Everyone was bustling around my mother while she silently sat in the corner, shedding tears. Whenever I saw mother, she was always crying. I do not know how she raised me while hiding me from the family. No one at home could ever find out anything. Mother used to make me wear boys' clothes. She even put me in a boys' school. But I did not like boys. My heart wanted not to play with ball and bat, but to play with my younger sister Rafia's doll. I liked mother's lipsticks. All her jewelry looked very good to me. One day, I picked up mother's red lipstick and put it on my lips, and I went outside into the courtyard. My grandmother was laughing uncontrollably. She called mother and said, "Look, your Bilawal has become a girl." That day, mother caught me by the arm and took me into the room. Closing the room's door, she beat me very badly with father's belt. My body was delicate. I was only a 6-year-old child. My flesh had turned blue. I screamed a lot, but mother did not have mercy on me. When blood began to flow from my body, then her hand stopped. Now she was crying even louder than me. Both of us, mother and son, had cried ourselves to exhaustion. Grandmother knocked at the door, but mother did not open. She had smashed her head against the wall until she was covered in blood. We both were taken to the hospital. She was writhing in pain for me, and I for my mother. For many days I kept crying, remembering my mother's pain. And mother, all the time with folded hands, kept asking me for forgiveness. That day, mother explained to me that if I ever did such an act again, father would take me to such a place where every day I would be beaten in the same way. After that day, I did not even think of doing such a thing again. Many times the heart wanted, but I crushed my heart. Many years passed, I even forgot mother's beating, but the lesson she used to give me every day, I would hear with one ear and let it go out the other. But one day, I made the biggest mistake of my life. I remember when I turned 10, father thought of celebrating a small birthday at home. Mother had kept out for me the best pant and shirt, but I wore Rafia's ironed frock. Putting on mother's lipstick, when I came out to cut the cake, everyone laughed. Mother too laughed. She tapped lightly on my head and said, "I don't know when your habit of joking will end." Then she took me into the room. While dressing me again, she was crying uncontrollably. I asked her the reason, and she said, "You have done a very wrong thing." The next day, mother took me to the bazaar, but it was not a bazaar. She took me far away into a town. Passing through narrow and dark alleys, she took me into a house where there were only people of third gender. At every talk, they clapped. I was feeling very anxious. I shook mother's shoulder and said, "Mother, let's go from here. I cannot breathe." But she sat near an elder, a guru, and kept crying while talking to him about something. The guru called me near and said, "From today, I am your mother." I shook mother's shoulder again and said, "Mother, get up, let's go home." My heart was trembling with unknown fear. What I feared happened. My mother got up and started walking outside. I ran after her, but the guru's disciples caught me. I kept screaming and shouting. Mother did not even look back. My little heart was trembling. My heart wanted to bring loudspeakers from all the mosques and call out to mother. She would hear and stop. Alas, I was so helpless. In my weak body, there was no strength to free myself from those strong disciples. All night, I kept crying loudly. The guru kept explaining to me with love, but it was not the age to understand. Early in the morning, mother came to meet me. I clung to her and cried again. Mother fed me with her own hands and left without answering any of my questions. I also promised that after today I would not touch lipstick or powder, but she remained silent. When the guru loved me, I felt disgust. I sat away from everyone, crying, remembering my family. One day, the guru came and sat near me. I was crying, so he too began to cry. He told me that his parents had abandoned him at such a place as soon as he was born. He did not even know who his parents were, nor did anyone ever come to meet him. The guru told me that I was just like them, that I would now have to live with them. I became very angry. I had been there a month. Mother had told me that everyone at home cried a lot remembering me, but mother had lied to them, saying that I had gone missing. That day I realized that Behind all of this, it was my mother herself. She never wanted to keep me with her. I had learned to compromise, to bend, and to adjust with the cruelty of fate. Inside me, there was always a wound that would not heal, yet on the outside, I wore a mask of strength. I kept my heart filled with anger and sorrow, and now I remained upset with mother, trying deliberately to annoy her, as if by hurting her, I could make her feel the pain she had caused me. When the guru told me to learn dance, I immediately agreed. At first, I resisted, but then I discovered that dance became a way of shouting out the storm inside me without words. Now I would do heavy makeup, wear glittering clothes, and meet mother in that form, hoping that she would be angered so much that her love would overpower her pride and she would take me home. But mother's heart did not soften. Instead, she would turn her face away, and I would return to my lonely world shattered once more. The guru polished my art and made me into a diamond. Every day, he trained me with patience, teaching me how to move my hands like poetry, how to express emotions through rhythm, how to turn my pain into beauty. Slowly, I became the center of attention. Now, I was fully prepared. When mother came to meet, I would purposely avoid her. I wanted her to feel the emptiness of losing me. My fame spread throughout the city. People whispered my name in gatherings, and invitations reached me from places I had never imagined. I had now grown young, my face more refined, my features more striking, and my beauty became my shield against the world. I earned a lot of wealth that filled my hands but left my heart empty. My guru had become very weak. I served him all day long, bathing him, feeding him, arranging medicines, giving him every comfort that he had once given me with his care. He was the only one who never judged me. The guru gave me blessings all the time, his trembling hands always raised in prayer for me. One day, he made me sit near him and said, in a faint whisper that carried the weight of his soul, "My wish is that you learn the Quran." His eyes were wet, and in them I saw a light I had never seen before. He gave me an address that I should go there. Saying this, he closed his eyes forever and passed away, leaving me with the heaviest inheritance, a responsibility, not wealth. Now, this was my guru's last wish. Even unwilling, I had to go to that address. My feet felt heavy, but I knew I owed this to him. I stood at the door when from inside the house, I heard the most beautiful voice reciting the Holy Quran. The melody pierced my soul, unlike any song or rhythm I had ever heard. I became frozen there, tears streaming without control. Then the same voice began reading the translation of the verse. In the translation, Allah Almighty was promising his sinful servants that if they turned away from evil and asked Allah for forgiveness of their sins, then Allah is the most forgiving. That verse had a great effect on me. My heart trembled, my knees weakened, but I kept crying, kept asking Allah for forgiveness. That night, I felt as though the heavens themselves had opened for me. Thus, I began to learn the Quran. Each word I read was like medicine poured into my old wounds. I left dance and all that world of glitter and applause. To feed myself, I began to work as a laborer. Every brick I lifted, every stone I carried was heavy, but not as heavy as the burden of my past. What kind of eyes I had to face every day, filled with curiosity, mockery, and sometimes disgust. What kind of people I encountered, only I knew. But I endured. Then I understood my mother's helplessness. After all, what could my mother do? She had been trapped between society's cruelty and her own love for me. Her daughter, too, was growing up, and people were watching. Then who would marry the sister of a third-gender person? Society is merciless. I had collected all my money so that it could be of use to someone needy. You seemed needy to me, so I gave it to you. I had a deep desire to meet my mother again, not to take from her, but to give. By serving her, I wanted to please God, to wash away my sins with her smile. One day, when I came to the parlor to meet you, I saw my mother there. My heart stopped beating. After years, the face I had cried for in the silence of nights was before me. Then I found out that mother wanted to marry you to her son, who was my brother. That is why I came to you, not for revenge, but for acceptance. Bilawal, after telling everything, cried. His tears were not of weakness, but of release, as if his chest had been unchained. I, too, kept crying. Mother dear, hearing all this, I could not stop myself. I had done wrong. My daughter-in-law was questioning me, while I wished the earth would swallow me. I embraced my daughter-in-law and wept bitterly. I remembered my little Bilawal so much. The tiny hands that once clung to me, the innocent eyes that had begged me not to leave him, the hardships he had endured because of my fear. I ran into his room and saw he was sitting, packing his things. Seeing me, he fell at my feet. I lifted him and folded my hands before him, admitting all my mistakes. I pleaded with him for forgiveness. He forgave me. My Bilawal clung to my chest, sobbing like a child. Then he separated from me, picked up his things, and left. I snatched his bag from his hand and told him to stay with me. He became nervous and said, "Mother, I do not want to make your life difficult." Then I spoke, and it felt like my voice was coming from some deep pit. "Son, it was I who made your life difficult." The fear of people had so much dominated me that I forgot the wrath of God. If on the day of judgment he asked me, "When I gave you a son and a daughter, you kept them, but when I gave you by my will a special servant, you rejected him," then what answer would I give? Save me from being disgraced before my Allah. I folded my hands before Bilawal. He threw away his bag and embraced me. I distributed sweets throughout the neighborhood that my lost son had returned. Thanks to Allah, he gave me the ability to correct my mistake.